religious and traditional leaders. And interestingly, they came up with a lot of suggestions and were able to guide them.
Our belief that you can sponsor high level only men. I say that thank God for having the privilege to participate in this seminar because I learn a lot. That there is a saying that says that if you are not informed, you are deformed. I wish I had been informed initially before I started my career as a pastor. But in the course of this seminar, we now know our stand.
This is the beauty of co-creation. Leaders and community members learning and building solutions that reflect their realities. From the mosque to the marketplace, from the palace to the pulpit, the message began to spread. And then something remarkable happened.
My husband used to drink excessively, leaving me to cater for the children. When I work on the farm, during harvest, he would come and sell all the crops I had labored to produce and leave me struggling to meet the children's needs. Their schooling, I struggled a lot. I am grateful to you because of this program. We thank you. I am beginning to see positive changes in his life and in our household. These days, whenever I am going to the farm, surprisingly, he sometimes picks up his hoe and follows me, although he's not consistent. But it is a remarkable improvement, to be honest. He has even started helping me wash my clothes, those of the children, and his own. Auntie, I am truly thankful to you for this program.
There's still a lot of work to be done, honestly, because behavior change is not very easy, as it were. I'll just say a big thank you to Ford Foundation for this work. It's been a lot of intense engagement in the past year and a half, and a big thank you to all the religious and traditional leaders across the country who have opened their arms, and lots of other organizations that have really supported this work. We believe that by the time we come back again in GS26, we would have stories of more wins and more gains that have resulted from this work that we've done together, and better life for each woman and every girl out there.
I mean, if you want to put your hands together, go ahead and do that. That was some brilliant work done. So having set the tone with that context-setting video on GBV, I'd like to quickly make welcome for an opening remark the program manager, Ford West Africa, Joy Ehinor Cesabor. Let's put our hands together for her as she comes up for the opening remarks, because this is a very important part of today's event. Let's keep clapping, please, as she comes up. Let's keep clapping. Then right after that, I'll invite the moderator for the plenary, and we'll take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. I bring you greetings from the Ford Foundation. Yeah. I want to thank the Policy Innovation Center for putting together this very important conversation this afternoon with our traditional and cultural leaders. Recognizing the important role that they play in our society. If I may, I would like to liken religious and cultural leaders as trees that have deep roots. And because they have deep roots in the soil, they do not fear the wind. As you know, GBV affects everyone, directly or indirectly. Before we dive into the conversation this afternoon, I would like us to reflect on three important questions. Personally, I ask myself a lot of questions. I ask myself how I want to be remembered and what I want to be remembered for when I leave the earth. Is there anything I would like to do better? Is there anything I would like to use my position of influence to inform change? So as we dive into the conversation today, we have a rich plenary participants this afternoon. I would like us to think back. How do we want to actually move from engaging our traditional and cultural leaders, move from engagement to forging true partnerships? Secondly, how do we want to translate the influence that they wield? How do we want to translate this influence to actually meaningful impact? And the final question I want us to reflect on is, how do we build or create accountability to sustain the progress that we make? You've seen the video, and you've seen a lot of work that has been put in by PIC and other actors in the gender space that have been doing serious work to help prevent gender-based violence. They said prevention is better than cure. And as I take my seat this afternoon, there is a popular saying that says that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. So I urge us this afternoon, as we listen to the conversation, to be inspired to go far together, so that we can be able to harness the power that we have in the room today and create a strong force to make sure that the issues of women and girls have moved to the next level. So I thank you very much, and I urge you to listen. Thanks a lot.
Thank you once again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now to the moment we've all been waiting for. In a few moments, our religious and traditional leaders will be gracing this stage to speak about this all-important matter around equity and GBV prevention. But I wouldn't be introducing them. So please make welcome with me the moderator of this plenary, Dr. Somawina Webu, Public Health Specialist at the PIC.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's fine. Thank you. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to this plenary session entitled From Influence to Impact, Engaging Religious and Traditional Leaders in Community-Led Models that Advance Equity and GBV Prevention. I'd like to start by thanking you all for your patience. I, in particular, want to appreciate sincerely our fathers, our royal fathers, for being with us all day. I want to really appreciate you for your patience, sir. So without further ado, because time is against us, I would like to invite our esteemed panelists to join me on stage, starting with our traditional leaders, and in no particular order, His Royal Highness Mai Kaltungo, Engineer Saleh Mohamedou Umar, Deputy Chairman, Gombe State Council of Emirs and Chiefs. Please make him welcome. You're welcome, sir. Next, we have His Royal Majesty Igwe Samuel Ikechukwu Asadu Jr., Igwe Ogadagidi, Chairman, Enugu State Council of Traditional Rulers. You're welcome, sir. Next, we have joining us online, Dr. Bashir Mundi, Imam and resident scholar, West Cobb Islamic Center, Atlanta, USA. You're welcome, sir. Next, we have Sister Dr. Mariam Ijoma Egujo, Research Associate, University of Erhard, and Project Coordinator, DDL, Germany. You're welcome, ma'am. And last but certainly not the least, we have Dr. Sumaye, Fadimatu Hamza, President, Federation of Women Muslim Association of Nigeria. Okay, thank you all very much for being here. Without wasting much time, because time is against us, I would like to start with our first panelist who is joining us online, Dr. Bashir Mundi. I'd like to start with you, sir. But before we begin the questions, I would like us to be very cognizant of time. And so please, I would panelists to please work with me and stay within the influence to advancing equity and leading meaningful change in their communities. Over to you, sir. You have the floor, sir. Please go ahead. Dr. Bashir, confirm that you can hear me.
Okay. Good afternoon. I am the last of what you had said. I am just making do with the sign language interpreter. I hope that you can hear me.
Loud and clear,
but
sir.
I can't hear you right now. But I see that he's interpreting, so I assume that he can hear me.
Yeah.
So let me begin by saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with the name of Almighty God, Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I wish to acknowledge the esteemed panel that I am honored to be part of. The moderator, our Royal Highnesses, the Mekan Kaltungo, the Igwe, and the chairman of Enugu Traditional Council. I'm really honored to be with you regarding the issue of, but especially the role of religious and traditional rulers in enhancing and facilitating more equity and more justice in terms of gender justice and the prevention of gender-based violence. I will begin with saying that I don't think that any world religion, any major world religion, is really set out in its principles and its ethos to be biased against the female gender. Speaking particularly of the Islamic tradition, we see that in the Islamic tradition, there is a universal Islamic universal imperative. And part of it is the seeking of justice. All Islamic laws and teachings can be seen to be founded on some foundational goals or objectives of Islam, of the Sharia, which is, in broadly speaking, the totality of Islamic laws and ethos and principles for the conduct of one's life by a Muslim. There is the prevention and the protection of life, the protection of life and the enhancement of life, the protection and enhancement of faith, the protection and enhancement of wealth, the protection and enhancement of the intellect, the human mind, the protection of the human dignity and human honor. So everything that Islam prescribes really can be related to seeking to achieve any one of these 5 foundational principles. Now, the case or the issue of of gender justice is not devolved from that. All of the teachings of Islam and requirements of Muslims by God Almighty are similarly applicable to male as well as females. As a matter of fact, the Quran emphasizes in a verse of the Quran right next to being conscious of God, being conscious and reverent and aware of the presence of God in our lives all the time. Allah instructs us as Muslims in the Quran to also, the same word, it says, also be reverent and conscious of the wombs. So be reverent and conscious of God, and be reverent and conscious of the wombs. And we can see that that was the prophetic model at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where you can see that, you know, he was a feminist, so to speak, in that the rights of women to even, instead of being property that was inherited, no, but, you know, restoring or giving them rights to own property, to do business, to inherit property, to even employ men. The Prophet's first wife was his employer. She was his boss. He did business for her. She was impressed with his character, and she proposed to him in marriage. And you see that ideal in the prophetic example. Now, when Islamic jurisprudence spread and generations later, sometime, you get cultural influences that come to impede some of these freedoms. And you see manifestations of these even in Nigeria. So we have to, as religious scholars and as traditional rulers who are custodians of the customs and the traditions of our peoples, be able to hearken and draw society back to these ideals and to compare our current situations with what is the ideals, what are the principles, as opposed to what is culture. Islam is not against culture per se, but it's not also in support of culture when the culture is unjust, when it discriminates, when it is, you know, it is violent, whatever the culture is. So Islam can be positive, negative towards certain cultural practices, or it can be neutral. How you dress, what kind of foods you eat, that is, Islam has no ruling with regards to that. That's all in the permissible sector. Now, coming
Thank
to
you.
the
Thank you
issue
very much,
of the
sir. For the sake of time, thank
Okay.
you. I would like to go to
I'll
the
pause
next
there.
speaker, but thank you for opening up this conversation so beautifully. I'd like to come to you, Your Highness, Engineer Saleh Mohammadu, with my next question, which is, how does community ownership and collective action strengthen gender-based violence prevention compared to perhaps just individuals acting on their own?
Well, thank you very much. Down as a traditional leader, we have a kind of setup. Traditional leader started from Mengua to a village head, to a district head, then to the most senior leader, which is the emir or the chief. For those bases, we try to control gender violence in any form. It's forbidden. And we have a kind of reporting system. First of all, because of the nature of our customs and the way we live. We are very much polygamous society. And people always say that when they have 4 wives or 3 wives, they think it's just a property in the house. They treat them anyhow. Sometimes even through violence, beating them up. In my domain, we try to stop it by sensitizing our people, mostly in the rural areas, because most of the women are not educated. We sensitize our people on this gender violence. We tell them to engage their women as partners. We try to teach them and maybe make them aware whatever they want to engage them with instead of being a violent way. And for the women, because of the degree of poverty, that makes them always very vulnerable. And then we have engaged the women. For example, in Kaltungo, when the living becomes so hard, we have now taught our community how to produce gari from cassava, which they, before they don't know how to produce this, they just buy it from the market. So we grow a lot of cassavas. We have taught them how to make gari. Now I'm sure when we harvest our cassava next month, Kaltungo will be main spot for buying gari instead of waiting for it to come from the south or from the southwest. And again, when sugar became very expensive, we bought a machine to crush the sugar cane into the juice. We loaned the women some money. Each one will buy her sugar cane, maybe for about 2,000 naira, come to the palace, we crush it. She takes the juice in a bucket, go home, and produce this local sugar that is called Bazar Kwela. And our women are becoming to have something in their pocket. They are very rich. And in that way, they earn big respect from their husbands. And that has a lot reduced gender violence, not as before.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Some very good points made there. Want to appreciate you for the good work. You wanted to add something to that? Please go ahead, sir.
We have about 80 counselors as the counselors of the Palace Correctional Institution. We have given them a role so that instead of having the normal chiefs, the district heads, or the village heads, we have women counselors in our 2 local government areas. About 80 of them as traditional chiefs. They also have a say in what we do in the community. I've just come, one of them is there. He's a chief, and our title is Saraki. And we do this all to stop this gender violence and move our people forward. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. Excellent points made. I like what you said about women's economic empowerment as a way of preventing GBV. You might not have said it explicitly, but the example you gave, and also having women in leadership, so women speaking up for other women. So these are some of the points that we can glean from your contributions. Thank you very much, sir. So I will come to our next panelist, His Royal Majesty, Igwe Samuel Asadu. And my question to you, sir, is how can partnerships between communities, civil society, and government embed gender-based violence prevention within the social fabric? So how do we make it normal for us?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. Is it on?
I don't think the mic is on. You can press.
Hello? Yeah, I can get it now.
There we go.
Thank you so much for that question. And the importance of that cannot be overemphasized. And I want to thank the organizers of this program for making it imperative to come to the nation's capital to do this. We thank the president for the level playing ground and platform. We thank the Ford Foundation and then the Policy Innovation Center for giving this done. I paid attention to the guests. These are the things that we needed to address about. When you want to address the question you asked me now, you start about community engagement. Engage your community to get those things done. You know, planning. You plan with your people to how to make sure that the problems of gender equality is up there. But first of all, you have to understand what we mean by gender equality. Everybody was born either a male or female. But in nurture, in life, the growth of life then adds some value that people get confused about which one is being messed up on. But actually, thank you. Thank you, I'm sorry about that. So actually, when you come to a community like our community, you have a collaborative engagement with the people, and you plan with them how to govern your community. Like my own community, I signed a communique with the United Nations that we are a yardstick or a place where we can study the importance of gender-based inequality and prevention of violence issues. So in my own cabinet, like I said, I have women in my cabinet. I have women as the President General. And the communique or the agreement are signed banning all those practices of female circumcision, beating of women, rape, funeral rites that they do in our community. All those things have been abolished in our community. So I'm here to address that you have to do empowerment. You empower the women. You engage them. You discuss with them. You solicit for their own input. You don't just come up and say, okay, this is the rule, and start from the leadership. The church, the culture, and the people have to come together to make it, and the government, of course, you have to discuss with the government to make those policies effective. Because the importance of this cannot be emphasized. We just have to be serious about it. That's why I'm committed to this journey. That I'm a board of trustee member of the Council of Traditional Leaders of Africa, Nigerian chapter, just to make sure that this is carried on. Maybe because of my background as a nurse, and I stayed in America for 30 years, so I know what it means to value the girl child or the man child. So our people need to understand the concept that we need to continuously engage our people to make sure the women are being empowered. If you empower the woman, you empower the nation. So we don't need to have issues of this violence and discrimination about which sex and that. And again, sustainability. You have to sustain whatever project you're trying to do. We sustain that, and from the sustenance, you have to have power sharing. So when you come to power sharing, you negotiate power. You don't just arrogate power to them. So I think these are the issues when we talk about partnership with the government and the civil society to get to where we're going. But I'm glad the topic is here, but we need to take it to the grassroots. It's not us people that are grassrooted. We are the grassroots looking at these people happening. Every day, every week, every year, the traditional leaders are sitting in the village or in the community, hearing all these complaints. They need to be encouraged. They need to be given a constitutional role in the Constitution. They need to be appreciated. The structure has to be there. Everybody's not going to be a politician, but we need to be encouraged. This is not a political issue. It's me or you. So I want to continue to say that this is something that we cannot do without discussing. And again, those ones that go to the community, I know they spend a lot of money keeping us in the city here, but it's also good to allocate more money to the grassroots mobilization. That would be my plea to this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Igwe. I particularly love the point you made about including women's voices in decision-making and co-creating community solutions to gender-based violence with them. And of course, like our royal father had already mentioned, again, empowering women and engaging them. Okay, thank you. Excellent, excellent points made. So coming to you, Sister Dr. Mariam, my question to you would be, what unique roles can religious leaders play in reshaping harmful norms and legitimizing gender-based violence prevention? Please, could you help her turn the mic on? Thank you.
Hello, okay. Thank you very much. Gender issues globally, not only in Nigeria, has become a concern. And for religious leaders, it is, for me, a platform where we can mainstream gender and talk about it, and also influence lives and condemn certain issues that are arising from gender identities and problems. But I want to make one point. When you talk about gender issues here, the first and foremost is the human dignity. Human dignity. So God, I'm happy the apostle who just left mentioned that God created us as human persons with dignity, with rights. He didn't create and say this person is a man or woman, just human person. Yes, we are women, we are men, girls, boys, but the human person is very, very important. And when the human person is accorded that dignity, the right to freedom, expression, the right to practice whatever religion we are giving that person the leverage and the access to life and also to belong to the society. And religious leaders can train those in their settings, priests, religious, to conscientize people and create awareness, because gender issue is very, very important. When we discriminate, when a woman is objectified, then there is no respect. So if women are seen as human beings and not objects, then we can respect them. We can create an environment where they can have access to resources like education, healthcare, and all that you have. We partner also with those who are advocating for gender equality and also condemning gender-based violence. We condemn discrimination, violence against women, because according to the work written by Pope Francis of happy memory in Fratelli Tutti in 2022, he said that the degradation of women is a sin. So he is promoting that women should be accorded the respect due to them. And when they are disenfranchised through the education they have right to have, then that is a problem. And we have to do that because women contribute a lot to the society. It's not because I'm a woman. Men, women, girls, boys, they contribute to the society. But sometimes we see around us the masculinity that violates the inclusivity. Masculinity that violates inclusivity. So when there is a masculine space, women have no say. You know what I'm talking about. Job positions, even in the government, women are deprived of certain positions, certain seats. It's not supposed to be because they have something to offer. They are capable. They are able. And when you are competent, I don't see the reason why you should be disenfranchised because of your gender. It's not done. God didn't segregate. He created us equal. He gave us unique talents. So as religious leaders who are there and with the authority to implement this, we have to create awareness. We have to partner with institutions. We have also to have this faith-based advocacy. My congregation is dealing with trafficking, girl trafficking, and also giving girls sex education or sexuality education, just to create awareness.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ibujo. Thank you. Very valid points made there regarding according women their respect as individuals, as equal individuals created by God. We like to say that women's rights, or human rights, or women's rights rather, are human rights. So thank you very much for that contribution. Which brings me to you, Ma, Dr. Hamza. And my question for you, Ma, is in what ways can religious bodies or organizations be mobilized as a protective factor against gender-based violence?
Thank you very much. First, I want to appreciate the organizers and for bringing up this very important topic that affects each and every one of us, either directly or indirectly. Religious leaders or organizations have great role to play in terms of protection and making sure that gender-based violence does not occur in any circumstance. In Islam, the Quran Allah in the Quran does not differentiate between males and females. But Allah talks about believing men and believing women. So the closest to the Creator is the one that is most steadfast. So if the Creator does not discriminate or places one above the other, then there is no reason why there should be gender-based violence. And the Quran talks about compassion to the extent that a surah, a chapter in the Quran is dedicated for women. That is to show the importance that the Creator has placed on women. And if we look at the practice of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his last sermon, he said the men should be compassionate to their wives. They should be loving to their wives. They should be protective. And he ensured that people should respect one another. Holistic. So the teachings of Islam is the Quran and the Sunnah. That's the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in these two, there is no discrimination whatsoever. So whatever that has happened now is a matter of ideology, personal ideology. So if our religious leaders can go back to the scriptures and abide by the teaching, for example, the imams have a large crowd of followers. If they stand in the mimbar, that's the pulpit, where they will preach and inform people in the congregation that women need to be protected, girls need to be protected. There should be opportunity for girls, opportunity for women to contribute in self and societal development. I'm very sure because of the influence they have over the congregation, there will be a lot of support by members of the congregation. And the religious leaders should work as a team. Collaborative effort is very, very key. When they work together, speak the same voice. You go to this mosque, is the same thing. You go to this organization, is the same thing. Then people will sit down and wonder, why are we now promoting or supporting gender-based violence? I'm very sure there will be a rethink, and people will come back to do what is right. It's a matter of mindset, not religion. And we mingle between culture, our ideologies, and religion. So the moment we begin to separate and abide by the religious teaching and keep away our cultural or personal ideologies, it will go a long way towards ensuring that we protect and streamline prevention of gender-based violence in our society. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ma. Please a round of applause for her. I couldn't have put it better myself. The excellent point made about putting away personal ideology and sticking to the true teachings of the Quran. For the sake of time, I want to implore our panelists, the next round of questions, to please try and address them in 1 minute. We would love to give some time to the audience to ask their questions. So please, I want to implore that you stick to time. Dr. Bashir Mundi, I'm coming back to you. And my question for you, please, sir, in 1 minute, is how can religious and traditional leaders model equity-driven leadership with their own institutions before influencing the wider community? As we like to say, charity begins at home.
Okay, very difficult thing to do in 1 minute, but I think both our traditional fathers that are on the stage right now have started answering that question with the examples that they gave in terms of their own traditional councils. I think that religious leaders can model this in their own lives in the way that they educate. My father, for example, was very insistent on educating my sisters. So they all were fully educated. That is one way. Secondly, is also in promoting those narratives within the religion that are more just, because even within the religion, there's a spectrum. You have the very conservative, very strict interpretations of religion, which often deprives women of their rights and is very unjust. Then you have the more balanced interpretation of religion that is more in line with the justice and fairness and equity that is the greater goal of Islam. And I think that traditional rulers can also model and encourage such discussions. For example, a panel like this could be held in my hometown of Bida, for example, in Niger State, in the Nupe language, and in engaging with people, you know, in the villages and people all across. You find that women are the backbone of the economy, for example, in many traditional settings. They are the ones who are, you know, in the marketplaces. They're very vibrant. And so to actually bring them into, like the saying goes, nothing about us without us, basically, that they're actually included. Their creativity and contribution is craved, it is sought after, it is respected. And then that will automatically, I believe, ensure that there's more justice for women, there's more women leadership and vibrancy is seen in the society. You gave me a difficult task to do this in 1 minute. I hope that I've touched upon some of it, and I hope I'm within time.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for him, please. I'd like to come back to you, Your Highness, Engineer Salim Mohamedou, to ask, Igwe had already spoken somewhat to this, but I would like to have your views as well on, in your experience, how can partnerships between communities, civil society, and government embed gender-based violence prevention within the social fabric for long-term change? Your mic, sir.
It's very important to partner with governments, civil societies, religious leaders. When we work together, then definitely, because all those forums are forums that get in contact directly with the community and through enlightenment and sensitization, and also empowerment for women, because they are far away in poverty when compared to men. And when we partner with them, then definitely we are going to achieve a lot better society than what we are doing now. So really, this forum that the Innovation Center has formed has helped a lot, and it will go a long way in solving the problem of gender violence in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for him. So let me come back to you, Your Majesty Igwe, and ask, what are the challenges and risks of engaging community leaders such as yourself, and how can these be addressed to avoid reinforcing an already patriarchal culture?
Thank you again for that question. You just have to, the challenges are power dynamics. Mm-hmm. You have to address it, looking at power dynamics, looking at the structures, looking at those parochial things that are there. You know, changes are constant, but we will have to begin to accept change. Those values that we find that are abject, or those values that we find that are inhumane, that are unfair, we need to be addressing them culturally. That's why I said I signed an agreement that my community, all these things are abolished. But you have to evaluate them, you have to have a measure of success. How do you measure the success? How do you measure the progress of what you are doing? This system, I'm encouraging you people to find a way, the government to put a structure where you have a token economy. If you're doing good, how do we encourage you to do good? We have to have invested something in you so that when you do this in return, you get a benefit. So that's what I want to say, a measure of success. We have to find a way to measure what we do. So by empowering the women, collaboration with the different agencies and civil organizations, and then getting people to understand the importance by education, educating the general public or the community, very, very important. So emphasis should be meant on the education. And the education is on grassroots, not in the city. Grassroots. I heard that Ebonyi State and Lagos State are doing extremely well. My state, Enugu State, is doing well. They have a structure whereby if you have anything, you make a phone call, action begin to happen. So these are the things I want to encourage, that things should be done in this way, and then people that are doing better should be encouraged to do better. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Please a round of applause for him. I would like to come back to you, Dr. Ibujo. Dr. Hamza had already spoken about ways in which religious organizations can be mobilized as a protective factor against GBV. And I would like to hear your thoughts on this as well, very briefly, in less than 1 minute, if you can. Let me come again. In what ways can religious bodies or organizations be mobilized as a protective factor against gender-based violence? Your thoughts?
Okay, thank you. From my own perspective, the religious leaders have the pulpit, which is where they can sensitize people and create awareness. There is also this aspect of partnering with the advocacy groups in order to deal with this gender-based violence for long-term sustainability. So I believe that the platforms we have is really rich enough to motivate, to inspire, and also to touch people and touch lives and to create awareness, just like His Royal Highness said, education, because many people are ignorant of certain aspects of this violence. So educate people, sensitize them through the pulpit, with advocacy, partnering with them, and then I think we will achieve something. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for keeping it brief. So, Dr. Hamza, I would like to come back to you, and I know this is asking a lot of you to do in 1 minute, but can you please help us identify what community-based structures in your community, for example, can be mobilized to support gender-based violence policies?
Yes, there are a lot of community-based structures that can be mobilized. For example, we have Federation of Muslim Women Associations in Nigeria, which is present in all the states of the Federation and in local government. Out of the 700 and something local government, Form 1 is present in almost 600 local government. So this organization happens to be the first point of call, most especially because it's women and faith-based. So when something happens, the first confidant is these organizations. But we need to take note that no one institution can do it alone. And that is why we must collaborate between the religious organizations in the communities, between government who streamline policies influenced by these organizations, and checkmate by the organizations to ensure that policies are adequately implemented. So when things like that happen, the organizations collaborate with institutions like FIDA, where people are taken to court in terms of violation. So Form 1 takes the case, follow up the case with the legal institutions. So this collaboration, I emphasize, is very important. And Form 1 also collaborates with WOWICAN, which is the women wing of CAN. We must work together, because sometimes a Christian girl or woman who is violated can come to me because she has confidence in me. I will be the link between her and WOWICAN or any other church organization, so that we can now come to her rescue, provide a safe space for her, and rehabilitation can also take place. Because when violation happens, rehabilitation must follow. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ma. Very heartwarming to hear about collaborations between Form 1 and WOWICAN. And I love the emphasis on one institution cannot do it alone. Partnerships are very much required. Well, our time is up, but I still want to give some room to take questions from the audience. Unfortunately, we might not be able to take more than 1 or 2. And so if you have a question, kindly indicate by raising your hand and the microphone will be brought to you. And I would like to implore you to keep it to no more than 1 minute. Please let him have the microphone and then let us know who you're directing the question to. And please, no more than 1 minute. Thank you.
All right. I'm directing my question to our Imam, the Muslim aspect. You know, as of last week, we heard that a lady was killed because of blaspheming. And though we did not know why, what is the blasphemy? So I want to ask, is it that in the religion now, once you have blasphemy, that I don't know what the blasphemy is, then you'll be killed because that lady is a Muslim and they couldn't hear her out and she was being stoned to death.
So please, what is the question?
Now my question is this. What is really the definition of blasphemy? And what is the law saying that is in Nigeria constitution, when you blaspheme, what will be done to you?
Over to you, sir.
Certainly from the point of view of the Islamic perspective or Islamic principles or Islamic law, because I'm not very familiar with all the details with this particular case, but I know that there have been similar cases in the past. To begin with, in Islam, there is no brigandage, or let me say jungle justice in Islam. There are certain things that are considered crimes, some are punishable by capital punishment, and some are punishable by various levels of punishment within the structure of an Islamic Sharia legal system. So you have to have that system to begin with. It is not a mob or an individual that makes a decision or makes a ruling that someone has blasphemed. You asked about what is considered blasphemy. That is the job of the Qadi or the judge or the legal system to determine. What did the person say, what did they mean, etc. Of course, in Islam, the position of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is one that is held in very, very high esteem for Muslims. There is no clear punishment per se that is prescribed in Islamic law, but a judge can use his discretion looking at the circumstances. So number one, to have a mob violence and to execute someone is not something that Islamic law will permit. Also, if we live in a secular system or in a secular setting where you have the Islamic law side by side with the secular law, you cannot take laws into your hands. So I think to summarily execute someone like that will be something that my humble understanding of Islam and our Sharia will not condone. Having said that, I think it also behooves on us as a multicultural, multi-faith society that people are educated to know how to respond when such things occur. People are also educated to demonstrate a level of civility and mutual respect for the religious figures or scriptures of whether it be the Bible or the Quran or the person of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or of Jesus, peace be upon him, who is also someone that Muslims love, to have that mutual respect for different religions, even if it is of someone who worships their idol, that you show respect to their freedom to do that, even if that is not your path and that is not your religion and you don't subscribe to that, but they are a human being and God gives them the freedom to believe in God or to not believe in God. So whereas I'm not very familiar with all the details of this recent incidents, this is what I can, this is how I can respond or comment with regards to Islamic law. But there is no taking the law into your hands at all in Islam. That in itself is considered a crime, and it should be punishable.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
It prevents us from, anyway.
Thank you very much, sir. Unfortunately, we are far out of time, and we will not be able to accommodate any further questions. But I would like you to join me in appreciating our team of esteemed panelists for their time and for their contributions today. Thank you all very much. It's been an honor and a privilege sharing this stage with you.
Please let's put our hands together for them. Thank you so much. I will take photographs as it is our practice, just so we... Yes, please. Yes. No, right here. Right here. I see. We have two quick announcements as we begin to wind down. If this is your vehicle, a Honda Pilot, I understand the color is silver. Your plate is KWL461CK. Honda Pilot, KWL461CK, Abuja. We understand that your alarm is on, so please, you might want to step out to turn that off, so you don't have to look for a battery to jumpstart your car after this. So once again, if your car is a Honda Pilot, silver, KWL4616CK, the alarm is on. Please let's put our hands together for our royal fathers, our religious leaders, for this wonderful, wonderful plenary. Thank you so much, sirs. Thank you, Ma, for gracing this occasion. Well, the second quick announcement is if you found a car key that doesn't look like yours, kindly help us take the car key to the information center, right? So if you have a car key in your possession or it's close to you that does not look like yours, please, we're looking for that car key. Kindly help drop it at the information desk. All right? Thank you so much. Buki.
All right. I think we have come to the end of the event for today. This has been day one of GS 2025. We've had a lot of conversations today, and we hope that you engaged. A lot of buzzwords came out of today's conversation. Engage was one of them, right? Innovate, strengthen, you know, those were some of the words that we heard today. How was the first day for you? Can I get some feedback? Great, okay. Any other word? Fantastic. Awesome, awesome. I said it was enlightening. Somebody asked me outside. I said, today was very enlightening. You know, it was interesting to hear about some data and some interesting things that is being done by our government.
Absolutely.
Actually. Yeah.
But the good news is that it gets better tomorrow. If today was great, tomorrow will be greater. I can promise you that we'll have first ladies here, members of the National Assembly, the Senate, House of Representatives, we'll have ambassadors. So tomorrow promises to be ×2. So please come early, make it a date as we, of course, continue this journey on Gender and Inclusion Summit 2025, brought to you by the Policy Innovation Center, PIC. So on behalf of the organizers, we'd like to say a big thank you to you. What a day it has been, right, Bukola?
Quite a day. Thank you. Thank you for staying till this time. Please put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you so much for staying till the end. We'll see you bright and early at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I mean, registration starts at 8.
Certainly. So goodbye. God bless. Have a restful night. And you can still network. Absolutely. Thank you. And see you tomorrow.